Today we are talking about a city that has came to the forefront of our relocation buyers in the last 2 years. That city is Port Orchard, Washington. Due west about 13 miles of Seattle. We've seen a lot of people kind of this charming little town in Kipsap County. And today what I'm going to do is I'm going to hop into Google Maps and I'm going to walk you through pretty much everything you need to know about living in Port Orchard, Washington. We're going to look at some of the best neighborhoods, the schools, things to do, some of my favorite restaurants, hospitals, basically everything you would need. So if that's something you're interested, stick around. We're getting after it right now. Hey, Chris, myself, and our team, we're helping people move every single day out to Western Washington. So if this is something you're looking to do in the next 3 days or even the next 3 months, shoot us a phone call, text, or an email so we can help you make that smooth move. And if you want everything going on right here in Port Orchard and the greater Tacoma area in general, hit that subscribe button. All right, so let's talk a little bit about Port Orchard itself. Why is Port Orchard becoming so popular? Well, can really think of three major reasons why I'm seeing more and more folks make this move. Number one is going to be the lifestyle. Port Orchard offers everything from a slower vibe to golf communities, but then also can put you right in the middle of the city in less than an hour. So no matter what kind of life you're wanting to have, even if it's a country life or lake life, it has it. Second, affordability. Now, everything on the West Coast does cost a lot of money. As you know, if you've watched any of our videos, I relocated out here from Missouri, so I am still sticker shocked to this day by how expensive things are here. But Port Orchard is a much more affordable place than many areas that we have. And the third reason is the proximity. Like I said, 13 miles away from Seattle, and you're pretty close to every else. So let's start off there. Let's jump into Google Maps and let's look at the proximity to some places that you would need to get to if you decided that Port Orchard was a spot that made sense for you. So let's go ahead and pull up our Google Maps here. All right, so number one, if we're one place we might need to find ourselves going could be Port Orchard to Bremerton. There is a lot of military. It's also a pretty close city. Additionally, really gets you to the ferry to get over to Fauntleroy in Seattle pretty quickly. And as you can see here, you're looking at about a 12-minute drive up there. Now, if you're wanting to get to Seattle, again, I love this 13 miles due west. You're about an hour away. Now you can drive it in about an hour, or you can just go to Bremerton, hit the ferry, and just float yourself over to Pier 50, and that puts you pretty close to downtown. Like you can get over to here and you can walk to whatever. Just a few weeks ago, some of our clients came in, took the ferry, and then they ended up walking over here to Lumen, and we actually watched the home season opener for the Seahawks against the Denver Broncos with them. Tacoma, which is where I see a lot of people end up moving to Port Orchard and then commuting to, is about a 35-minute drive. I mean, this Highway 16, is going to be pretty open for the majority of the morning. It shouldn't be super hard to get there. It's basically just straight down to the city, and you can see that's all the way to the other side here. So you can look at about 30 minutes. You do have to cross the Narrows through here, so that does have a charge each time you go one way and the next. Now, if you're going to this place, the other one I see a lot is the Joint Base Lewis McChord. Again, pretty similar. You're going to end up going down 16. You're going to cross the Narrows Bridge. Again, you're going to pay for that every day, and then you're down here into the military base in about 40 minutes. So one thing with a lot of the military folks is they find themselves in a position where they're having to pay a lot of money and they're fighting a lot of routes to come in. Like if you take a look, I see a lot of our military folks buy stuff off of 512, and this highway right here, it can be absolutely brutal. I mean, traffic backed up the entire way. Chris and I actually used to have one of our first offices kind of in this general region here, and coming from my house, I'd come down through Puyallup and hit 512, and man, it could definitely take well over an area. So it can be tough for sure. So let's get back up here to Port Orchard. Let's look at some of the areas, some of the neighborhoods, or maybe just some of, my favorites. So McCormick Woods is definitely one of them. This has the McCormick Golf Club on it. So in this area, you can play golf here at the golf club. Let me see, pull up some pictures for us and take a look at. Yeah, here we go. So you got nice golf club right in the middle of the community. You got a lot of wildlife. Look at this view of Mount Rainier from this house. That is stunning. So you got golf on one side of the house, towering view of the mountain on the other side. This is probably one of my favorite areas of Port Orchard in general. And if we kind of go back from this, we take a peek at some of the properties that are in this region. So here's some houses. Now you got some new builds coming in at about $950,000. Obviously beautiful home, 3,800 square feet. So this is a massive property for 964, and at 247.56, this is well below, I think, what you're going to find in the region. Now coming in here again, if you look right here on the golf course, this one's 800. This would be something more typical for the area, I believe. So you got 3-bed, 3-bath, 2,700 square feet right here. It's right on the golf course. So if golf course living is something that you want, really family friendly amenities, and a lot to do, then this neighborhood is definitely one that I would definitely check out. If we head kind of towards the other side of Port Orchard, we're in this area right here called Manchester. Now, Manchester is fantastic. It's got some obvious water frontage here. It's got a little bit more friendlier priced homes. I mean, honestly, pretty considerable. And you get that nice quiet set. So I pulled a property right here that is for sale in Manchester. So this one's 3-bed, 2-bath, 1,300 square foot, and it's 427.5. So, really nice property here. Take a look at stove. You can see outside, neighbors, nice fenced. At 427, this one even has some room for improvements as far as the things you could fix up. So Manchester is a beautiful spot. So if you get in here into the waters, here's the boat ramp. Let me pull us a picture up. Yeah, look at this area right here. Absolutely beautiful. So you got people out swimming and playing in the water. I mean, really, you figure you're spending $450,000 and this is the kind of environment that you're getting to live in. That's a pretty amazing scenario. I would bet that you couldn't. I would challenge you that you couldn't find that kind of living in a lot of areas. Of course, you can see across the way there to Seattle. So that's pretty amazing. And this next one, I kind of call this like Sinclair area. I mean, or over by Long Lake, maybe Long Lake area. Again, I like this area. It's a little bit more quiet. It's a little south of Bethel, which is our next one. So it saves you some time getting on to the road to get home. And in here you can see some, here's a property right here, 699, beautiful home, 3-bed, 3-bath, 2,200 square feet. This is a great area, and this one's a dual gated home, so you get a little bit extra safety there. That's a good spot. And then the last one that I really always like to point out is Bethel. I think Bethel is a awesome community right here. Gives you a little bit more of that kind of center. I mean, you're a little south, but you're next to the BMX park. You're quickly to whatever you need fast. You're right up there by Lowe's, and there are some good properties there. I pulled just a few so you can see 459. Both these are Ramblers, 1-story, so you're able to get into there at 489. So prices in this area are pretty awesome. You can get a 3-bed, 2-bath, 1,300 square feet for 459, being right in the middle of everything. You're not really going to find that in Tacoma or inside of Seattle itself. One thing I get asked a lot is about grocery stores in these towns. So there is a lot of options as far as grocery. in Port Orchard. So you can see here we're kind of lit up with Albertsons. You got a grocery outlet, which from the Midwest it kind of has an Aldi's feel to it. You do have a Walmart Supercenter, another Fred Meyer's, another Safeway, another Safeway. And remember, if you look at the places that we were talking about as being some of the more like top end areas, all right here, this Bethel area, you're close to everything. McCormick down here, you've got this up here. So there are a lot of different grocery options that you can jump in. Now, as far as groceries, I don't feel a lot of difference between the groceries here versus the groceries when I lived in the Midwest. I know that sounds crazy, but it just doesn't seem to be as big of a problem as I thought when I moved myself. All right, let's talk about a couple of big parks here. So this is this giant area here. This is the South Kitsap Regional Park. We've got some clients that live over here off of Conifer that we moved from England, and this is the greatest place for them because they just go down Conifer over to Lund, boom, and they're right here. And this park is massive, so tons of green spaces. You can see there's a lot of hiking and running trails. You've got baseball fields here, but I also love that you have a BMX terrain park. If you've watched my videos, BMX was a big part of me as a kid. But on top of the BMX park, you also have the Vanderburg skate park down here, which is pretty good size. It's nice and safe. Got the running track right here outside of it. So kids are into skating. There is a really good, safe environment where skateboarding, BMXing can kind of be held in this space right here. All right, the other big park I think that's worth looking at is going to be your Veterans Memorial Park. This is a nice park. You got your nice walking trails. You can kind of play through here. Got your baseball fields. Just a nice little green space for you to hit up. So Veterans Memorial Park is another good one in the area. Okay, now I'm going to zoom out a little bit here. One thing that we hear a lot about is hospitals. And so Port Orchard itself does not actually have its own hospital. So you're going to have to end up traveling up here to Silverdale to hit St. Michael's Medical Center. This is going to be, your big major hospital. Now, Port Orchard does have some urgent care, some quick cares. And, when you look at this space, this does look like a pretty long, path to travel. But the reality is that this right here is only 24 minutes. I can get here in 20 minutes. So if you have an emergency, you're more likely going to be able to get to this hospital faster than you would if you were maybe even in Tacoma trying to get to a hospital in Tacoma. So you're 24 minutes away from the biggest major hospital, in my opinion. Now, you could come in down to Tacoma, but us having an emergency, that definitely would not be my option. Now, lastly, one of the things I like to think about when I'm looking at a town is going to be we talked about affordability a little bit, right? So as far as these homes and things, I want to show you this comparison here between Port Orchard, Seattle, and Tacoma. So this is going to be just the average sales price of a home in these areas. Now, what you'll see is obviously Seattle is much higher than Tacoma and Port Orchard, and Tacoma and Port Orchard are actually pretty close to one another. But when we take a peek at the affordability as far as moving to the area, if I were to have to work in Seattle and I really wasn't wanting to spend this $1,000,000+, then I could look at a place like Port Orchard where I can buy a house for literally like 60% of the price. Affordability is insanely different just going across the water. So if you can stomach taking the ferry over to Seattle, you could save yourself literally thousands of dollars on your house payment. Last thing, if you got some kids, you're probably wanting to know about the schools in Port Orchard. So the school district is called the South Kitsap School District. Overall, I think niche.com is a great searching tool for anything like this. Now, I do always recommend that you do your own research when it comes to schools, housing, neighborhoods that fit you, anything like that. But let's just run through niche.com, see what they have to say. So overall grade was a B minus, pretty solid. B on academics, B minus teachers, B on clubs, B plus on diversity, B plus on college prep. That's great. I like seeing that. Another thing that I liked is that the school district itself has a low student to teacher ratio. It's only about 17 students to one teacher. So you kids are getting a little bit more individualized attention. Here is the school district here. So you can kind of see where these schools are placed. More so kind of in this upper end where you see a lot of the schools. Here's your kind of your top schools. Mullinex Ridge Elementary is your top one. Sunny Slope is the next one. So a little bit of insight to the schools there. Again, do your own research, see what you think. Lastly, let's take a look here at some places that I just personally enjoy. So if you're wanting to move to some place, you want to have a few things to do. Peninsula Bevco is a really neat spot. We just took some of our clients, actually a couple from Colorado, a couple from England, to dinner here a couple months ago. They had great food. You can also go outside and you have waterfront access. So you can sit outside, look at the water, tons of stuff on tap, just amazing food. And then my other one, personally, check out is Damn Fine Pizza. This place is amazing. The pizza is incredible. If you know me, I'm also a big fan of Mad Men, so a lot of references to Mad Men inside of this space. And again, you have the Port Orchard waterfront right here. So this is an amazing area to just, be able to take in everything that it has to offer as far as the waterfront, as far as the mountains looking over into Bremerton. This is a really cool space for sure. Nice, you can take a nice walk through here anytime. I love being able to see the ships. This waterfront area is really my biggest jam. So if you're looking for a place that's going to be really affordable, you're looking for a spot that is going to provide you good housing, pretty damn good schools, and then really be close to everything without being out of pocket a lot. And by close to everything, I mean ferrying over to Seattle, or just if you got to drive down to JBLM because you're in the military. Port Orchard offers you a great lifestyle with a lower cost of living and that proximity that's close to everything. So again, if you're looking at making a move here in the next 3 days or the next 3 months, shoot me a phone call, text, or an email so that we can help you make a smooth move.